3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to this week's mailbag. I am Doug Codd. If you have a question for me, tweet it to me at Doug Codd using the hashtag MailDoug and I will try to answer it. First question here comes from Tyler DeRosa, who asks, are you finally worried about the offense yet? Not really. I think the Patriots offense has been fine through 5 weeks of the season. Their worst game was against the Buffalo Bills, but that was the best defense that they faced so far. They struggled in the first half against the Redskins on Sunday, but then they came back and looked pretty good in that second half once they started going a little bit bigger and running the ball with Sony Michel. So until they struggle in a game that they shouldn't struggle in, I won't have any serious worries about the Patriots offense. I think they could potentially add some pieces on there, but even if they don't, then they've got a really good running back stable. Julian Edelman, Josh Gordon, and Philip Dorsett are a solid wide receiver core. Tight ends are not a pretty situation, but they obviously proved that they could get by in that second half against Washington. I don't think the Patriots offense will be the strength of this year's team, but their defense has been so good this season that it really doesn't matter if the Patriots offense isn't as good as it usually is. No team in the NFL can be perfect. Second question here comes from Liam, who asks, what trade would you like to see the Patriots make at the deadline? It's a good question. I think I would add to that tight end core. I don't know who would be available. A lot of Patriots fans want O.J. Howard from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers since Tampa really isn't using him the way that he should be used. He's a very good complete tight end, and they're really mostly using him as a blocker, rarely targeting him in the passing game. They have Cameron Brate. They've got some other tight end options, so perhaps they would be willing to move him. If it's not him, then I think they should try to get at least one other tight end in this group to fill it out with Ryan Izzo and Matt LaCosse in there. They've been fine, but I think they could definitely upgrade that position. They didn't choose to do that by keeping around Ben Watson, so maybe they do have some sort of trade in mind there. Last question here comes from Justin Time 217, who asks, nope, it's not from him. Final question here comes from Neil Jocelyn, who asks, how did it come to this at tight end? Sorry, Neil, and sorry, Justin. So Neil, how did it come to this at tight end? Patriots just didn't draft anyone. The only player they've drafted that position in recent years is Ryan Izzo. They used a 7th-round pick, a very late 7th-round pick, by taking Ryan Izzo. They should have known that Rob Gronkowski was going to retire. He's been hinting about it for years, but they just didn't do anything. And there's been some good tight ends who have come out in the draft in the last few years the Patriots probably should have taken. Instead, they were filling up that group with veteran players like Martellus Bennett and Dwayne Allen. So, I mean, there's definitely some you can doubt some of the decisions that they've made at that position over the last few years. Like I said, when you've seen some of the other young, talented tight ends come into the NFL, but this is where they're at right now. So maybe they could still add to that position through a trade before the trade deadline.